Okay, so before we get into today's session, just let me talk about few points related to how the preparation is going on and how generally how it should be. So I don't take much time. Say learning methodology. I don't know how you people are preparing and all. Just I want to suggest some methodology when you are doing this course. Not only this, any functional, majorly functional, technical courses that may not be applicable this approach. So the first point, anyway, just like please take it. Maybe you may attend these live classes, or else you may play these videos offline, whatever it may be. So while you are attending the classes offline or online classes, my request is please make a note. What are the navigations we are taking? What are the points we are discussing? Whatever I'm writing in that spreadsheet, everything please make a note. The second step is please read thoroughly till you remember. That's very very important. So when you are attending the classes, yes, I believe that you are able to understand each and everything whatever I'm trying to explain. So even you are able to understand, you should read it. After reading, you have to read till you remember all those points. After reading, you have to discuss the same points. So we discussed about P2P and O2C. You should take opportunity of discussing all these points with others, but that depends. You are in which environment, that also matter. So if you have friends, okay, who are working as a finance consultants, or if you have friends who are learning this course, just maybe you can take this opportunity of discussing with them. Just it's like what I'm suggesting is, say that you are, I mean, there are two guys who are learning like A and B. The A will be explaining to B, saying that okay, this is a P2P cycle and we'll start with it starts with requisition and it has to go through approvals. Inventory will take initiative, then once that is approved it will be passed to purchasing department. This is how just sit and have a discussions. Once you find out like you are able to present something to come up with the discussions, definitely you should read and remember. Before that you should have a source of information through your note. Once you find out yourself, yes, you are able to speak about what we just gone through in the classes and all. My request is start with the presentation. Okay, start with the presentation. Okay, really, if you want to just get a job on this, you should take initiative for this. You should give presentation. Discussion is something, I mean, totally different from the presentation. So you should, once you find out yourself like yes, you are able to speak something, you can start giving the presentation. And when I talk about presentation, these are the two points here we have. One is system related presentation, second one is theory. So the concept wise, what we are trying to understand, what is a multi-arc, what is a multi-arc structure, what is a P2P, O2C, how to just, the all points you can, theoretically you can present. In the same way, when I talk about discussion also, the discussion case also, you can keep these 2 points into your discussion. One is system related, second one is theory. How you have to go with the system related discussions or presentation. So I may discuss with someone saying that okay, let's talk about how to create the chart of accounts. Then I can start with all the points. Okay, first navigation is set up financials, flex field, key segments. There we'll go and find with the GL and we'll select accounting flex field, and we can just place a cursor over there and use click on new and use down arrow, control down arrow. Then we'll provide the structure code and the structure name and description. Then we'll save it. Then we'll go to the segment. I request you all to mute from your end. I can hear some noise from someone. Please take as a request all the time. Thank you. Then we'll go to the segments. There we will provide the segment names. Okay, and we'll create the value sets. How to create the value set? We'll give the name and we'll give the maximum size. We'll enable the right justify zero field number, whatever we are doing. And their by default system is will be taking the validation type as independent. Then we'll save it. This is how we'll create the multiple value sets or whatever you require. Then we'll assign to respect to segments. After assigning, we have to assign the flex field qualifiers to segment. The mandatory are two, balancing and natural account. We'll be assigning how to assign, select segment and go to that flex field qualifiers tab. There you enable and save it. That's the process of assigning. Once we're done with that, we have to freeze the flex field and we will be submitting for compile. Okay, at the same time we have to enable allow dynamic inserts, which allows us to create the new code combination. Okay, and once we're done with that, we have to create the segment values. Before creating the segment values, we have to go to user management. In the user management, for our user, we have to give the privileges to create the segment values through respect to the value sets. Okay, how to do that? The same how we are doing the same, you should be able to present. Once we're done with that, we can create the segment values. When you are creating the segment values, how to create, just we'll go to value set and we'll provide value set, then click on find, enter the value set code and provide the description, then go to segment qualifiers tab, then just provide qualifier segment qualifiers what we have. So this is how we have to create these points. Also you have to discuss, these are not theoretical concepts, system related. So when we are okay with the system related discussions and the theory, what we can explain P2P, O2C or something else, okay, the multi-arc structure, whatever it may be, then you can go with the presentation. Once you're done with that, okay, you have to practice. Okay, you have to start working on the system. Anyway, here also when you go with the discussions, you can read and then you can start with the system practice. Then only you can go ahead with that. You complete all those things, again you go with the system practice. That means my suggestion is, the first point, you please make a note and read multiple times. Then after reading, just you can start with the system. You will be getting just some confidence or command on what you are trying by reading and doing the system practice. Then just start with your discussion with someone. Okay, system or system related or theoretical concepts. Then give presentations and again do system practice multiple time. Then you can get ready by attending just these classes. If you just do practice and all, nothing will help us, that is for sure. Okay, this is what generally we suggest and we follow in our classes in our institute here. That same I'm just suggesting for you guys. Since you're attending online classes, you may not get a chance of giving presentation since you are alone for the learning of this course. If you are from Hyderabad and all, you can come down to institute and you can practice here and you can involve in all these discussions and presentation. Okay, so if you are from different locations and all, if you try to get a chance of with your friends who are into the same like Oracle financials or who are learning or who are working, try with all those, just but focus on all these points, how we have to do it. Okay, if you talk about technical courses and all, you don't need to do this much, just you have to learn and you have to just practice. You don't need to speak with anyone, just you'll get a requirement, you'll be writing the programming, that's how it will be done. But when you're learning these kind of functional courses, okay, we should be ready, we should be able to speak. Okay, there should be a very better presentation. That's very very important to come up with all those expectations. Just I'm suggesting to get ready with all this information. Okay, fine, that's all. Fine. Now when we look into last class, so almost what we did in last session, we assigned business group to all the responsibilities, and I think we created period type, accounting calendar, we enabled currency, chart of accounts we created, and primary ledger also we defined. Legal entity we created, we assigned legal entity to primary ledger, and BSVs to legal entity also we assigned. And after completing that, the primary ledger whatever we created, where the status is completed, the completed status, what are the primary ledger we have, that we assign to all the responsibilities. If primary ledger status is not completed, in progress status, when you try to assign your primary ledger to responsibility, you won't find it. If you try to assign, you won't find it. Reason is the primary ledger status should be completed only, then only the primary ledger will be available to assign to responsibilities by using GL ledger name profile option. Done. Up to here we completed. If you look at our multi-arc structure, so we done with the BZ and primary ledger, along with that legal entity definition and assignment, everything is done. Now we have to see how to create the operating unit. Okay, how to create the operating unit. We'll see how to create the operating unit. Say here, create operating unit. After creating the operating unit, that operating unit we have to assign to all the responsibilities. Reality not required to all. For few responsibilities only required. Which responsibilities and all will be discussing detail. But for now, in this stage, I suggest you to assign to all the responsibilities. Nothing goes wrong if you assign to all. But later I'll just filter it. I'll tell you why we have to assign this operating unit to only specific responsibility and all we can discuss. Okay, but for now when you are practicing, you do it in the next level. I'll just give you some other point. Based on that you can understand why we no need to assign to all. We have to assign to specific only, but for now I'm just suggesting create and assign to all. Assign operating unit to all responsibilities. Okay, reality not required. Why that anyway we'll discuss. For now we'll assign to all. Okay, done. We'll create operating unit and we'll assign to the responsibilities. So after completing that, as a part of multi-org structure, we have a inventory organization. Okay, we'll discuss that. First, we'll complete these. OU definition means operating unit. OU operating unit means OU. We'll create the OU. The OU will assign to all the responsibilities. After completing that, we'll talk on inventory. There are few points which you have to understand apart from what we discussed. We'll discuss those points and we'll create the inventory organization. Okay, we'll see that. Fine. So we have a user called as, I think here Pitri. Fine. So to create operating unit, we have to go to HRMS. So in fact we created business group also from same HRMS only, right? So to create operating unit also you have to go to HRMS. Expand this responsibility. Click on that, it will expand. Okay. And here, from here directly you can take the navigation, or else you can just open this HRMS responsibility by clicking on any one of the function. It's not mandatory you have to take from the navigation from here only. After opening the complete responsibility in the web-based application, from there you can take the actual navigation.
Can I ask some question?
Please.
While creating multi-org structure, you said business group is assigned through HRMS and primary ledger through GL and legal entity through CM. But whereas operating APAR POM, but here you are saying that HRMS. So how it is related?
This is a place to create. Connectivity will happen at that level.
Okay, got it.
Yep. This is a place, the function is available. When you say this is a HRMS means it's the top level, right? Which will be mapped at BZ. The function they given from here. Even you can create these business group and operating it all from inventory also. But primarily we create from HRMS application only. Okay, just definition is possible from here. That's all. Okay, usage point of it will be working those application level only. Okay, so once
Got
we
it.
get into the application, few more points also will you will get more clarity. Okay, so that only the point is just we have to wait for some time. That's all. Okay, we'll do that. So here what we are going to do is we are going to create operating unit. Take the task name as create operating unit. Hope you are taking the notes. So take the task name as create operating unit. Take the navigation, work structures, organization description. To create the operating unit, navigation is work structures, organization description. By taking this navigation, we can create the operating unit. Just double click on this description, or else instead of double clicking on this, you can use the enter from the keyboard. It will open the description form. Okay. Now it's a find organization form, but we don't want to find any organization. Our requirement is we want to create the operating unit. Just click on new. Same process. Hope you remember how we created business group. Same process we follow here to create the operating unit also. So I'll give the name as, say, ERP3 Hyderabad operating unit. Okay. So when we are working in real time, the naming convention may not be exactly how we are writing. Okay. So they'll be having their internal naming convention, how they'll be identifying their respective business process and all. They'll give the names, all the names. Okay. Once we finalize the solution, how many operating units they require as per their business requirement, client will be giving the naming convention. For Hyderabad operating unit, what name exactly they require. For Bangalore, Delhi, or whatever, how many operating units they have, all the naming conventions they'll be providing the spreadsheet, and that we can take under the same, with the same naming convention will create the operating units in the system. Okay. So but here, just for simple understanding, I'm giving location, I'm including the location as a part of OU definition. So ERP3 Hyderabad operating unit, here where this operating unit is located, that location and the relevant address you can provide here. I'll say Hyderabad only, because already we have a location with Hyderabad. The same system will default. Just type Hyderabad, you will get it. And after giving the name and location, you have to save it. Otherwise, if I try to give the organization classification for this operating unit, for business group you given the classification as business group. So we are trying to create operating unit. So for operating unit, the classification, so we can understand by seeing this name, this is operating unit. But how system has to understand based on the organization classification only. So since we are creating the operating unit, organization classification we should provide as a operating unit. If you try to give that classification directly, it won't accept. We have to save. So the same message you can see. So after giving the name and the location information, save it. Okay, saved. Now go to organization classifications and just place cursor here, and you can find a value from LOV, or else directly you can type. So operating, tab out, it will fetch. So now what we are creating is operating unit, and you have to enable and save it. Now anyone please tell me, operating unit will be having as per multi-org structure under what? As per multi-org structure, multi-org structure hierarchy. As per multi-org structure, the operating unit will be under what? Anyone?
Under
Under
legal
legal
entity.
entity,
Legal entity. Legal entity will be under
primary ledger.
primary ledger. That's it. So that is the hierarchy we have to follow. Now what we have to do is, please mute from your side. I can hear myself. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now the OU should be under legal entity. The legal entity will be under primary ledger. That's true. But this operating net is going to be under which legal entity and which primary ledger you have to specify. Okay, the connectivity, the hierarchy you have to build by specifying. Okay, OU will be under specific primary ledger and legal entity only. That's true. But under which primary ledger and which legal entity, that we have to specify. So to specify that, go to others tab. Please take all the points. We given the classification and enable it and save it. Now we are going to specify this operating unit is going to be under which legal entity and which primary ledger. Just click on others. Here we have one mandatory option. Here you can see in the star mark asterisk. That means it's a mandatory to set up. Operating unit information. Select and say OK. Okay. Select and say OK, and it will open one pop-up window with one field. The field name is operating unit information. Whatever the option we selected, the same option name it is displaying as a label name for the field. Just place the cursor in this field. Place cursor it will open another pop-up window. Just place cursor in that field. Now system is asking, this operating unit is going to be under which primary ledger and which legal entity. As per hierarchy, OU will be under LE, LE will be under primary ledger, of course. But finally, under which primary ledger and which legal entity we have to specify. So this is going to be under which primary ledger? ERP3 primary India primary ledger. Here system is taking the short name. And after creating the primary ledger, right, once you click on update, there you can see the short name we discussed also. So system will create the short name by copying the ledger name. After that it will take the ledger ID and ledger currency, it will take into short name. With that name you can find out. And again this OU is going to be under which legal entity. The legal entity name you have to select here. ERP3 legal entity. So this is how we given the name, because only this legal entity we mapped with this primary ledger. That is the reason only this legal entity is coming. Earlier what are the other legal entity we have, that is not appearing here. Reason, that is not assigned to this primary ledger. Okay, that's all. Then say okay. If you want to give any short name for this business unit, sorry, operating unit, you can provide it, but not mandatory. Leave it, not required. Just say okay. That means we are giving the specification. This OU is under which legal entity, the legal entity is under which primary ledger. That's how we are connecting, by specifying. Just say okay and say yes. We want to save it for sure. We want to save the changes you made. Yes. Okay. So this is how we have to create the operating unit. So after creating the operating unit, next step is assign operating unit to all responsibilities.
Lakshman, I have a question here.
Please.
When we selected the address and after saving, it is not allowing to change the address. So it is like a system driven, or we have the provision to change the address.
Anytime you can change anytime. Which this address only you are talking, right?
Yes.
You can change it. Even for BZ also you can change it.
Okay, I got error, so maybe okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. You can change anytime. Maybe you may switch your company from one location to another location, or else you may just go with some some registration process.
Can you please repeat from others?
Sorry. Hello. Any question? Fine, seems to know. So you can change the location anytime. That is the point here. Okay. Fine, done. Now the next step is we have to assign the operating unit to all responsibilities. Now tell me, what are the different applications we can map at OU level as per multi-org structure? Anyone who are clear on that point, please answer.
Basically, the subledger modules such as AP, AR, project accounting, those kind of modules. That is excluding general ledger and the fixed assets we can assign.
Cash management also. Right. So already that we discussed. If you look at this multi-org structure, we discussed few points. So finance point of view, AP and AR, and SCM point of view, PO and OM, and of course we have many other applications not required. That means in these applications only you can record the transactions which are specific to OU. That means the OU we have to assign to only these responsibilities only. This is the point we have to understand. We no need to assign OU to GL, FA, CM, okay, and inventory related responsibilities. As per multi-org, which applications will be mapping at, okay, OU level, only for those application related responsibilities only we have to assign the operating unit. But if you are going to assign even for HRMS will be at BZ level, right? So you no need to assign. Only you have to assign OU to only these 4 responsibilities as per our discussions. If you have some other modules which are OU specific, in that case those also you can include, but generally OU need to be assigned to these 4 responsibilities only. Other responsibilities not required. Okay, but for now let's go and do it. Anyway, you will get an experience on that, but I suggest you assign to all. Okay, we'll go and do it,
I have a quick question here
please.
on the operating unit information. When we define OU, that time we select the PL, means primary ledger, and then in this scenario we have only one legal entity. For instance, under that PL, there are multiple legal entities. Then can we see multiple legal entity here? Just want to confirm.
So one you have to select as a default. When you are recording the transactions, you can change it.
Okay.
Yep, that is a rare case what you raise the point. The point is correct, but generally it's a very rare scenario. If I'm running the business in, just say in Hyderabad, just for one business in one place which I'm running, I may not have multiple registrations. Okay, but you come across normally when you are working for different country clients and all. Generally, you see in US and specific businesses that scenario you can see. So that's how we'll do. You think whatever the legal entity we are specifying over there, that is the default one. But you can, when you're recording the transactions, if you have multiple legal entities for one operating unit, you can change, you can override. Fine. So now we'll go on that side.
Sorry to interrupt you here.
Please, please.
So the thing is that, for example, I have one PL and multiple legal entities, and as we know that, there is a relationship like one LE has a one PL and one PL have multiple LE. So in this scenario, for example, I have one PL and multiple LE, and obviously I'll have multiple OUs. For example, I have 3 LE ABC and one PL. So I can make a relationship like one PL, legal entity A and operating unit A. Then similarly, I can create multiple operating unit for multiple LEs, and then I can make a relationship that way in the kind of default LE and kind of. Okay, thank you.
Yes, yes, sir. Under one PL, you can have multiple LEs. Okay, one generally normal just cases which we see is for with the one LE you can have multiple OUs also, or else for one OU you can have multiple LEs also. That is also possible, but it's a very rare case. Yeah, you can have multiple. Yeah. Fine. So now the next point is we have to assign operating unit to. We'll go with all responsibility generally as we discussed. It's enough to if you assign those 4 APR, PO and OM. So how to assign? We have one profile option to assign. The profile option name is MO operating unit. Okay, point here is by using MO operating unit profile option, we can assign operating unit to responsibility. MO stands for multi-org. Earlier also we discussed just profile option names. Here HR means human resources. Here MO means multi-org only. Multi-org security profile. This is here also MO stands for multi-org. Okay, we'll see how to assign operating unit to responsibility by using MO operating unit profile option. So go to sysadmin, the system administrator responsibility I'm calling as sysadmin. Just click on this switch responsibility hat icon. Go to system administrator responsibility, then say OK. We know the process how to do this. Go to profile and say system. So anyway, we are going to assign to all responsibilities. Just type ERP tree, tab out, select accounts payable, and responsible name is MO operating unit. Sorry, seems so there is some space. Okay, that is just that the naming convention they written for profile option is MO colon space operating unit. So here you can assign your operating unit. Operating name is ERP tree Hyderabad operating unit, right? That's it. System is taking. Tab out and it will take. Then save it. Okay, repeat same step for other responsibilities also. I'm just copying this name. Shift page up, change responsibility, ERP3 receivables, paste the BU operating unit name. Shift page up, ERP3 cash management, assign. ERP3 fixed assets, assign. ERP3 general ledger, assign. ERP3 human resources, assign. ERP3 inventory, this assign. ERP3 order management, assign and save it. Shift page up. So we have one more responsibility, that is order management. Sorry, purchasing. Assign and save it. That's all. So we assigned operating unit to all the responsibilities. Done. Now, as per multi-org structure, we created almost except inventory organization. We'll talk about inventory here. Say client has 10 warehouses. In the system, we have to create 10. Okay, we have to create 10. Okay. Now, take simple example. I have inventory 1, inventory 2, inventory 3. Take the simple example. The business, we have 3 inventories. Inventory 1, inventory 2, inventory 3. Say client is Apple. So what they store in those inventories? Say they store iPhones. Now what I have to do is, in which inventory, how much quantity of iPhones we have to maintain that information. So in that case, in inventory 1, which items I am going to store, first of all I have to write the name. Here I have to create item called as iPhone. Even inventory 2 also I'll maintain the iPhones. I have to write the name as iPhone. I'll write iPhone. So in one system, one instance, I have a 3 inventories. In the same system, I'm creating item called as iPhone 3 times. Of course, this is just Excel spreadsheet. I can write it in simple way. But when I talk about the solution, which is managed by warehouse or inventory, the item creation is involved with a lot of information. It's not easy how we are writing in this spreadsheet. There are a lot of specifications you have to do. When you are creating item in the system, you have to specify this item we purchase or we sell or we manufacture, and in which process this item can be used, what are the different parameters, and what is the profile of item. Many things need to be maintained in the system environment. So now if you notice the point, we have 3 inventories, but in each inventory we are going to maintain the iPhone. When we are maintaining the iPhone, just to maintain the stock, how many iPhones we have in inventory 1 and 2 and 3, to specify the stock, I am writing the name as iPhone 3 times. That means it's a duplication. The same system, because of I have 3 inventories, I am writing 3 times duplication. To avoid this duplication, what we can do in the system is, instead of creating this item called as iPhone, because see here I created iPhone, I have 100 iPhones in inventory 1. I'll write the quantity. Here how much stock I have, only 50. Here how much stock we have, say 1000 we have. just to specify why we are writing iPhone, but because you may have something else also. You may have something MacBook, because you will be having different items in the inventory. So how much stock you have, that you have to specify. That is the reason. Definitely which item, how much stock we have, definitely we have to give the name of the items, then only we can maintain the stock. Again, if you are going to maintain the stock of the MacBook in other inventory also, again you have to create MacBook here and there. Again, this is also duplication. Of course, in inventory 2, how much stock you have, that you can specify here. Of course, stock will be different, but item will maybe remain same, right? So but here also I'll treat as I'll consider as a duplication is happening. Means here I created iPhone, here I created iPhone, MacBook, three times I'm creating. But that we don't never treat as a best way of maintaining some item related information in the system. Instead of doing like this, what we can do is, instead of creating the iPhone in the specific inventory, I'll create iPhone outside of the inventory. I'll just create iPhone. So these iPhones we are going to maintain in which inventories? I'll just assign this iPhone to that inventory. Okay, what I'll do is, just I'll assign this iPhone, I'll assign to this inventory. Okay, the same iPhone I'll assign here. That means if I go to inventory 1 or 2 or 3, I can see the item name called as iPhone. Just I'll see the name as iPhone, I can enter how much stock we have. That means I'm avoiding the duplication. So one item I can create. In how many inventories you are going to maintain that item related stock, the product related stock, simply you can assign that item to the respective inventories. If you are going to say, for example, if you take company as Apple, if they are dealing with a product called as iPhone, say within India they have 100 warehouses. In that case, for each warehouse in the system we have to create 100 inventory organizations. So say in 100 warehouses they are going to maintain the stock called as iPhone. Now iPhone, the definition you have to create in 100 warehouses, 100 inventory organizations. Instead of doing that, what you can do is, even iPhone you are maintaining in the 100 warehouses, just create one time. iPhone you create and you assign the same to 100 inventory organizations. That's how you can simplify the solution. So to create this item in the system, what we do is, we have a concept called as item master inventory. So let me write here, item master inventory. So what we do is, normal practice is, how many warehouses you have, those many inventories you have to create. In each warehouse which item you are maintaining, you can write in that. The same item if you are going to manage in the multiple inventory organizations, instead of writing in each and every inventory, what we can do is, we can create item outside of the inventory organization, and that you can assign wherever it is required, so that against that you can maintain the stock inventory specific. Okay, and to create these items in the system, we have concept called as item master inventory. If you have 3 warehouses in your business, the 3 warehouses which you can see physically, the physical warehouses in the system, you can create as a 3 inventory organizations. But in the system environment, to manage this item definition, we'll have a separate inventory called as item master inventory, which we can use to create the items. That means in item master inventory only we'll create the items in the system environment. Those items will be assigning to the real inventory organization to avoid the duplication. So if you look into, say for example, you have a client has 3 warehouses, but in the system you have to create 4 warehouses, 4 inventories. Those are 3 are real inventories, whatever they have in the business. The 4th one is item master inventory you have to maintain, which is virtual. Client has 3 physical inventories, but in the system 3 plus 1 we have to create 3 to support those 3 what they have, and the 4th one is just to create items. That means in our system, items we can create by using item master inventory. Once you create item in the item master inventory, those items where exactly required you can assign. That's how you can avoid the duplication. Item master inventory we call as virtual inventory, because you never see that in the business. That is, virtually will maintain the system to support the system process and item definition. If you have any questions on this, please.
Lakshman, the avoid duplication part which you were talking, right? Can you please explain that again of the inventory items?
Yeah, you can mute from your side, please. After your question, immediately my request is please mute your mic so that I'll start explaining. See, simple. I have inventory 1, 2, 3. I want to maintain the stock in inventory 1, 10 iPhones, and inventory 2, 20, inventory 3, 30. If I'm going to write 10, 20, 30, what are those? There is no meaning. So here I have to write iPhone. iPhones 10 we have in this. Again here also I have iPhones. Again I am writing iPhones 20 we have. Again I am writing iPhone. If I have 100 warehouses, 100 times I have to write iPhone in every inventory, and I have to give the number of how much quantity we have. Instead of doing all those things, what I am trying to say is, if you create iPhone item in the inventory called as virtual one item master inventory, that you can assign. Instead of writing this, the same name will be available here. You can enter the just quantity. That's how you can simplify. Okay, is it clear? Still, if you have doubt, you have to wait and see in the system only. There is no other option. Any other questions from others, please?
So basically, the item master inventory is like a virtual inventory where we doesn't have on-hand quantity, right? It is just for defining the item.
Not a physical one, real one, just for item definition, just name creation. That's all.
The actual inventory will be in the inventory 1, 2, 3 in our scenario.
Exactly. In all the cases, yes. As per our scenario, these are real inventories. That is a virtual one, just to create the items. Instead of creating a same item multiple times and each and every inventory, you can create over there, and that you can map with this. The same will be available in 3 or multiple also.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So, any other questions, please? Fine. So this is a point we have to understand when you are doing the implementation. If client has a 50 inventories, 50 warehouses in the system, we have to create 50 plus 1. 50 are physical, actual inventories. The additional one is item master. What is the purpose of item master? By using item master inventory, you can define the items, you can create items, but don't think we can maintain the stock. You cannot store the items within the item master inventory. It's a virtual one, it's not real one, just for item definition. What is the use of inventories? To store the items. There you can maintain the stock, but not in the item master. Item master, you can define the item, those items you can assign to the actual inventories, and there you can maintain the stock related information. Okay, this is a point we have to understand. Now when you are creating the multi-org structure, before you go and create your actual inventories, inventory 1, 2, 3 or whatever you plan and do it, so first we have to create item master inventory only. Now we are going to create item master inventory. We are going to create item master inventory. Later we'll create our real inventory. That's how it works. Fine. So now
I have one question here. Sorry to interrupt.
no problem.
Inventory purchasing OEM, basically they are the supply SCM modules, supply chain modules. So here creating the responsibility is fine, but defining the item and maintaining the inventory on hand quantity, those kind of things can be done by functional consultant or is a part of SCM consultants
SCM
job here.
will do that. We don't create inventory organizations. We don't create items. We don't, because here we're trying to look into the complete cycle of understanding. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Because these we don't create. If you are not going to try here, you cannot understand thoroughly. That's the reason I am just including all these, so that it will be the full scope of learning for you. That's it. When you are working, think you don't need to create, but when you are practicing, please do it. That will add more value to your learning. Okay, fine. So now we are going to create item master inventory. Okay, Done. So here let me write the same point. So create item master inventory or inventory organization, anything you can call. Fine, we'll go and create it. From where we can create item master inventory? From the same form from where we created business group and operating unit. By taking the same navigation, we can create the item master inventory. Not only item master, even actual real inventories also you can create from same form. We'll see that. So now we have to switch to which responsibility? HRMS. Just click on switch responsibility icon. Go to human resources super user responsibility, then say OK. And the navigation is same. Work structure, organization. See here I am not creating the multiple locations and all. So when you are creating the multiple operations, definitely will have a multiple different locations. When you are creating the real inventories, definitely each and every real inventory will belong to so and so location. But now anyway I am going to create virtual inventory. Where virtual inventory you can see in your business? Nowhere. That means for virtual inventory you don't need to give any location, because that is not physical one, virtual one. Okay. So to create the item master inventory, navigation is work structures, organization, description. Okay, now we are going to create the new. So click on new. I'll give the name here as a. So for everything I'm going to add ERP tree as a prefix. That's how easily we can identify what we are creating. Even when you are practicing also, you take some name and you try with that name only, it will be easy. Otherwise all the time you may start searching for what you created. Sometimes you may forget, and you may practice today, you may take some break again. If you are practicing, you should recall all those names. If you go with some prefix for everything, that will be easy for you for your practice. So ERP tree, item master inventory, done. So what location we have to give? We should not give any location. Okay, so just save it. Up to here you have to save. If you want to give the organization classification, what exactly this for system understanding, you have to give the organization classification. Save it. Now you can go to organization classifications. So what we are trying to create? Item master. It can be item master or real inventory, whatever it may be. System point of view, just inventory organization. That we have to understand what purpose, item creation purpose or to maintain the stock. That we have to take decision. Okay, so here we have to select organization classification as a inventory. Okay, so select inventory organization as a organization classification, enable the checkbox and save it. Now anyone please tell me, as per our multi-org structure, our inventory organization will be under what?
Under operating unit.
Fine, it will be under operating unit. The operating unit will be under specific LE and PL. Right. Now if that is the real inventory, that will be under specific operating unit. If that is a real inventory, that will be under specific operating unit. But this is not real inventory. This is just virtual, say dummy. We should not call it as dummy. Let's call it as virtual. There is some purpose why we are creating. So in this case, how to deal with this, we'll see now. Now we have to specify the inventory is under which operating unit, and again that is under which primary ledger and legal entity. So to give the specification, this inventory is going to be under which OU and LE and PL. Click on others tab. Here we have an option called as accounting information. Okay, here we have one option called as accounting information. Just select it and say OK. Select it and say OK. Now just place the cursor in this field. We have a field with the same selection, what option we selected, accounting information. In the same field, just place the cursor. Okay. So now you have to specify all the information. This is under which primary ledger and which LE and which operating net. This is under which primary ledger? So ERP3 takes short name only, but here you can see the full name, actual name. Okay, ERP3 India primary ledger. So already for that primary ledger, this legal entity is assigned, so that is the reason system is defaulting. Now, if this inventory is real inventory, then we have to give the operating net. The real inventory will be under real operating net. But this is not real inventory, this is just virtual inventory. For virtual inventory, that means for item master inventory where we create items, you no need to specify any operating net. This is not going to be under specific operating net. This is just inventory to create the items, not to support any operating net. So don't provide any operating net information. Then say okay, now by giving this primary ledger and legal entity, we are specifying this inventory is going to be part of which multi-org structure. That's it. So just say okay and click on OK and say yes. Done. So this is how we have to create the item master inventory. Fine. We no need to assign this to anywhere. Okay, here already we have specifications we given. So after creating the business group, we are assigning to responsibilities. After creating the operating primary ledger, we are assigning. After operating net creation also, we are assigning to responsibilities. But inventory you no need to assign to anything. Okay, if that is the actual inventory, there is separate way of assigning mapping that anyway we'll see when we create it. So done. Any questions so far, please? Hope everybody is taking all these points. It's very important. Please make a note and get ready to read all this information where you should be able to present all these if required. Definitely required. You have to just present what we know. Okay, any questions on this, please?
One question. In others category, we are giving for virtual inventory, we are giving primary ledger and legal entity, but we are not giving operating unit. So, is it necessary to give primary ledger and legal entity? You are not giving operating unit.
You should give it. That's how this inventory item master inventory will be identified. This should support for which primary ledger and legal entity connected operating related inventory organizations. So what happens, when you give this, I think I've closed it. Say we given like operating net for this inventory, we given primary ledger and legal entity. Later I'll create another actual inventory. I'll create inventory 1. For that inventory also I'll give primary ledger and legal entity. So by using this inventory, if I create one item, I can assign that item which has same primary ledger and legal entity association. That's how the connectivity get established. I'm specifying by giving these. I'm going to use this item master inventory to create items and to assign these items to same the inventory organizations which are connected with the same primary ledger and legal entity. This is the point you have to understand. Is it clear?
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have two questions here. The first question is, we are creating item master inventory arc, which is a virtual inventory arc. So in order to do any transactions,
No
so we need to have at least one.
No transactions. Here, no point we have to discuss when you talk about item master. No transaction. First of all, it is not real. Just for item definition, the real transaction takes place in the real inventories only. Based on this, you may go ahead with your question.
Okay, so for that one, we are going to create another inventory arc, right?
Definitely, the real inventory will create. Real inventory. This is just for item creation, not for transactions. Virtual business, who will do? Nothing. Virtual, of course, the virtual e-commerce, something else we have, but not that. The real business transaction can be captured by real inventory reference only. Just this is for item creation, naming convention.
Got it.
Yeah, that. Any other questions?
Yes,
One more.
Lakshman.
Please, anyone.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Prince, you can go ahead. I think I can see your name.
Yes. Okay, so basically, my question was, see, for like if we have more than one items, usually we have, right, an organization has. So for each and every item, there should be a different master organization, or all of them will be in the same item master organization.
By using one item master inventory, you can create multiple items. Any further question?
Lakshman, my question.
Yeah.
We are using HRMS for business group and operating unit. Can you explain it? Why we are using? Little bit confusion.
Sorry? We are using?
We HRMS for business group and operating unit.
See,
So any reason?
don't try to understand in that way. Simple point is, whatever you want to create, we'll create from there. In that case, I have one question. We are creating all the responsibility in the system administrator responsibility. What is the meaning of that? Nothing. That is a place Oracle given to create all. In the same way, all the organizations can be created from HRMS only. In that way, don't try to understand how this got relation with HRMS. Just place, that's all. Is it clear?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
Hello?
Yeah, please.
Fine. Yeah, please. Yeah, I have a question. If we don't have HRMS, then with this inventory item master inventory we created in the inventory module then?
Fine, good.
Fine, good.
I request you to mute after question. Fine, thank you. See, what happens is, say you taken the license from Oracle for finance only, or finance and SCM. If you don't take license from Oracle for HRMS application, still you can go and use HRMS application to create these definitions, but you are not allowed to perform HRMS transactions. You may take initiative of using HRMS application even if you don't have license. What happens is, when you have some issue with that HRMS application, if you request Oracle to help on that, they don't support you. But if you take license for finance and SCM, still you can use HRMS at least for these business group and inventory operating unit definitions. There, if you have some issue, they will help you, but there you should not use those applications to perform the module specific transactions. For these kind of creations, you can use it. That's how it works. Is it clear?
Is it clear? Thank you. Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions?
So I have a question. Just take one real-time example. Suppose we have the multi-R structure, and in case like business expansion or whatever the case, if they want to implement or they want to add another inventory R, that time we don't need to create another master inventory R, right?
Not required. Just you can go and create one more inventory. That's enough, and go and specify that falls under which operating unit and which primary ledger and which LE. That's all.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Because these points are very, very important. I'm really happy to see all these questions. Okay, any other questions, please? Fine, done. Okay. So we create, yeah.
I have a question. See, according to inventory, we are giving operating unit, right? In this case, we are not giving operating unit. Okay?
No, I didn't.
That's right.
I didn't understand it.
No. According to, inventory, to create inventory, original inventory, not a logical.
Okay, yeah.
We are giving operating unit.
Yeah.
In this case, we are not giving operating unit, right?
Yes. So when we are creating the real inventory definitely that will support for so and so operating net. That is the reason that inventory is going to support which operating net related business transactions will specify the operating net. Now we are creating virtual one, not real one. That is the reason we are not giving. Only for item master, we don't specify any operating unit. In all other real inventories, definitely you have to map inventory with a particular operating unit. Reason, inventory will be under particular operating unit. That inventory is under which operating unit you have to specify. But this is just for item creation. It's not mandatory. It should be under so and so. Reality also it won't be under anywhere, but just for item creation. The real inventory should be under specific operating unit. If you have inventory, Y means there is no information, there is no meaning. You have inventory in Hyderabad. Why you have it should support so Hyderabad operating to some other operating unit. So that's how you have to do the mapping in the system. So in case of item master, there is no scope of selecting inventory. You should not also. The reason is virtual one. The real inventory when you create, it's a mandatory. Even field is optional. As a mandatory, you have to specify that inventory you want to keep under which operating unit. Any questions, please? Fine. No questions here. Good. So we're done with the multi-org setups, the basic multi-org setups. So just this is what we taken as example. You take just this is what we created just now. I'll remove these. Okay. So now the point here is, just now we created one multi-org. For India, we created a multi-org structure. You take this is the multi-org structure. This is our instance. Normally in the fresh instance, we'll create multi-org structure. This is how I'm not giving here hierarchy and all. Just I'm giving the simple object here as a presentation for multi-org. So done. Now this multi-org is ready. Now what happens is when you create the new multi-org structure in fresh instance or any instance, when you create the new multi-org structure in the fresh instance, what we have to do is we have to get ready with that multi-org, because once you create, you are going to start using it. Before that you do some necessary setups also, anyway that we'll discuss. But once you create the new multi-org structure, what you have to do is you have to apply some data to that multi-org structure. You have to apply some data to multi-org structure. So as a process, what we have to do is within the database only, they'll have some data which we call as seeded data. Okay, in every instance within the database, they'll be having, just Oracle will keep some data called as seeded data, means fundamental data. Fundamental data. So after creating the multi-org, it's recommended to copy the fundamental data which is there in the database. We have to copy this data to our new multi-org. After copying, you can start doing additional required setups and you can start using each and every module, nothing but application. Okay, so very fundamental data you have to bring into your new multi-org. So if you copy the seeded data when you are working on this multi-org, you never face some specific issues. If you don't copy, there is scope where system will stop you doing so and so activity. But normally what happens is once you create multi-org structure, automatic system has a capability of providing required data for that new multi-org structure environment. But still Oracle recommends to copy the data. If some data is missing which is required for new multi-org, that will be added by using this process. Okay, without copying also you can go ahead, but there is chance where you get into the issues. Oracle recommends copy the seeded data and start working on that, then you won't face any issues. This is the recommendation from Oracle. Okay, so we have to copy some seeded data. So to copy the seeded data, we have to run one program. Okay, we have to run one program. So we'll go and run it. that program is available from system administrator responsibility only. Okay, already we discussed in the request group you can have reports. Along with the reports you can have a programs. If I say the program is available only from system administrator responsibility, what is the meaning of that? Anyone? Or if I say that report is available, it's not report but program, but if I say so and so report is available only from system administrator responsibility, what is the meaning of it? Anyone, please? Already we discussed the relevant points. We are not going to discuss once again. Just my question is, if I say I can find one report only from system administrator responsibility. If I say based on the statement, what is the meaning you can find? What is the meaning of this?
That could be the
Seeded
seeded data.
information.
Sorry?
Could be the seeded data.
Oh, okay, then let me change my statement. One report is available only from payables responsibility. Then what is the meaning of that? What is the reason behind it?
So basically, the meaning is like the request group we have, right? The particular request is specific to that request group. So that request group is assigned to system admin responsibility. That might be the reason.
Yes, that exactly. That is a point. If I say so and so report or so and so request or program is available from so and so responsibility, that means for that responsibility, whatever the request group is assigned, only within that request group only we have that report or program. Okay. So if I say one report is available only from payables responsibility, the meaning is for payables, whatever the request group we assigned, that report is part of that request group only. So now the point is the same. So now we can go and submit one program. Okay, request group consists of reports. That's what we discussed earlier. Now I am adding the point. Few programs also it will have. Okay, along with the reports, we can have some programs also. So that program or that request is available only in the system administrator responsibility. That means for system administrator responsibility also we have one request group. That means within that request group only that program is available or the request is available. That's all. So now we'll go to the system administrator responsibility and we'll submit that program. What the program will do is it will go and take the seeded data. The data will apply to our multi-org. So then you can think, so required data is added to our multi-org, then you can start working on our multi-org. Fine, we'll go to the sysadmin responsibility. We'll do it. If you have any questions, we can discuss on that. Switch to sysadmin. And to submit any request, you know the navigation, right? Here also we have separate navigation, but ignore it, later we'll see. You know the navigation view from any responsibility. This is a standard navigation view request. You can click on submit new request or you click on find. From here also you can find the same tab. Go to submit a new request and say okay. From here we have to submit that program. The program name is replicate seed data. What is the meaning of replicate? The English term meaning, just I am asking the term meaning.
Duplicate
or copy.
Or copy. Yes, exactly. Here we can say copy. The duplicate or copy both are same. So copy. That means what we are trying to copy, seeded data. Here they given as seed data. That's nothing but seeded data you can call. Okay, the program level, the naming they given as seed data, nothing but seeded data. So seed data means fundamental data. The fundamental data is required for every multi-org. If you create any multi-org and if you want to use it, some fundamental data is required for every multi-org. So within the system only, within the database, we'll be having that seed data or seeded data. If you create new multi-org, you have to apply that to your multi-org so that you can start working on your multi-org. So by default, system will take the seed data for every new multi-org, but still it's a recommendation from Oracle. If you copy this, you can make sure that everything will be working fine. Automatically system will take, in the process of taking automatically, some fundamental data system may ignore to copy to your multi-org automatically. That is the reason it's a recommendation is manually you have to do this task once again, so that there won't be any issue when you are working on the new multi-org. So replicate seed data means copy fundamental data to our multi-org. So here the parameter system is asking operating unit. Operating unit is part of our multi-org only, right? So if you select one operating unit, your operating unit, so your operating unit is under which legal entity, primary ledger, and that is belongs to which business group, under operating unit, which inventories you have, all system can understand, and that's how it can copy and it can validate your entire multi-org whether properly seeded data is applied or not. So just provide your operating unit name. Even if you have 10 operating units also, you no need to run this replicate seed data for 10 operating units by selecting one by one. You can select one operating unit, you can run one time, that will be done. That's enough. And after running this, you may create new operating unit, but again you don't need to run it. Okay, that's how it works. So select your operating unit, ERP3 Hyderabad operating unit, then just say okay and click on submit. Then say no, means the system is asking, do you want to submit one more request? I said no. Then click on refresh. Now system will be running the same program. That means system is submitting to the concurrent manager. Concurrent manager will take the responsibility of validating, verifying, and applying if any seeded data is missing for our multi-org. It takes some time. Meantime, any questions, please?
I have a question here. Which the parameter which we have chosen is operating unit. That means the seeded data is relevant for operating unit, or
For entire multi-org? No. For entire multi-org, but system has to identify the seeded data need to be applied for which multi-org. If you say this is the operating unit, that operating unit belongs to specific multi-org only. That's how system logically it will understand. It will apply for entire multi-org wherever fundamental data is required. That's it. And when you are running this program, if you don't select any operating unit, because the parameter is not mandatory field, if you don't select within the system how many operating units we have, for all those operating units, system will try to replicate, copy the seeded data for all the existing multi-orgs. Yeah, please.
Okay, got it. Thank
you. Yeah. If you select your operating system easily, it will just it will copy and it will complete. If you don't select, it takes too much time, because now we selected, still it is taking time. That means you can understand if you don't take how much time it takes. Okay, any other questions, please, based on today's session?
Based on your experience, what kind of errors we can get here in this replicate seed data errors?
No errors we get generally, because first of all not required, but still as a recommendation we are running. That's it. No errors we get here. Any other questions? Take some time. Okay, meantime, any questions, please?
We are selecting operating unit, right? That means it is the main application that we need to select, but because it is not showing another applications.
Sorry, what is application?
We are selecting operating unit for creating replicate seeded data.
Yeah.
Why not other?
Other? What other? What is the meaning? Please.
We need to select only operating unit. It will give only operating unit.
Yeah, only operating, because operating unit is connected with entire multi-org environment with relevant objects. Okay. That's how the solution they given. That's how the programming. They written the programming. If you select operating unit, where it connected with which primary ledger, which legal entity, which other inventory and other organizations, for all those areas of related applications, the data has to be copied. That's how written programming. The same parameter they are displaying, we are submitting and we are working accordingly. See, when we get some doubt, the logically that may be correct, but only the point we have to understand how the solution is delivered through this product, that we have to understand. Okay, it takes more time. Let's take 2 minutes break here. We'll connect after 2 minutes. Meantime, I'm going to stop the recording also. Okay, we'll connect after 2 minutes or max. Let's take 5 minutes break here. No issues. It may take some time. We'll take 5 minutes break. Fine. So still system is taking time to complete this. We no need to worry about it. Okay. Anyway, now we are not going to get into the transaction process and let it take own time, and we have a lot of time to start with the actual system transaction process. Anyway, it will be maybe completed within another 5 to 10 minutes time, not an issue. Okay, later we'll check it. Okay, no issues. Fine. So this all comes under basic configuration of multi-org structure. Okay, so here as a point I'm taking run, replicate, seed data program. This is what we done. So far any questions, please? This is what we call as creating multi-org structure. Now what are the multi-org structure you created? If you want to check what are the configuration you did, it went properly or not. You did multi-org configuration the proper way and it's properly configured in the system environment. If you want to check, we have option. Now what we'll do is we'll check how the multi-org configurations went, whether everything went fine or somewhere it went wrong. You can verify that. How to check it? We'll see the process. I'll just give you the point as check multi-org configuration. The meaning is right or wrong. Follow the same sequence what we discussed. For sure you will find it as yes, it's a properly created. Okay, if you find the situation, if you find the case like where it you identify as a wrong, then you have to do all those things once again. So follow the same sequence, and if you try by changing some sequence, it will become 50-50. You may get the expected result or you may not get it, but follow whatever we discussed and that will work fine. We'll go and check in the system how to what is the status of the multi-org structure now. Okay, if you want to check, you can go to accounts payables responsibility. Please make a note all these points. I'm going to check our multi-org, it went fine or not, the configuration properly done or somewhere went wrong. I'm going to check it. To check multi-org configuration status, I'm going to payables responsibility and take the navigation. Take the navigation from payables. Navigation is setup. Please make a note all these points. Setup, go to options. From accounts payable responsibility, navigation is setup, options, and under options we have a function called as financials options. Financials options. From payables responsibility, navigation is setup, options, financials options. Just enter, it will open the financial options form. Now here you can notice we have a different tabs. The first tab is accounting tab, the second tab is supplier purchasing, third tab is encumbrance, the fourth one is tax, fifth one is human resources. Now how to check? How to check what are the multi-org which we created? What is the status of it? If you go to the tab called as human resources tab, under human resources tab, if you find our business group, that means our multi-org is correct. If you find different business group, think our multi-org configuration went wrong somewhere. But when you are working in real time, okay, when you are working in real time, whatever the business group you will create, that only will be having in the instance. Okay, think there won't be any much scope where it goes wrong because of different business groups we have. But even when you are working in real time also, by default Oracle will provide one business group. Go to human resources, work structure, organization description. See, set up business group. This will be provided by Oracle in the fresh instance also. Okay. If you want to use this, you can change the name and you can use. Normally, we just ignore it and we'll create our own. Okay. This is a seeded business group, you can say. This is given by Oracle. By default, there will be one business group called as setup business group in every instance, including fresh instance also. This is the point we have to understand. Whatever it may be, just this is a just point, but now the point what we have to consider is our multi-org configuration is right or wrong. Go to payables, setup, options, financial options. Under human resources tab, if you find our business group, our multi-org is correct. If you find some other business group, you have to consider as a wrong, and you have to start right from beginning. That's how you have to do. So just go to human resources. So here you can see our business group. That means our multi-org configuration is done very properly. That's it. So this is the proof you can see after creating the multi-org structure. Any questions, please? Okay. Any questions, please? Okay. And the other point here is, let me go to human resources. So whatever we create in the system, say here, let's go to work structure, organization, description. Not only this, whatever we are creating in the system, you can find the proof which user created, when they updated the record. You can see. I'll go with ERP tree. You can select any one of the definition. It can be operating unit or business group or item master, inventory, anything. I'm selecting operating unit. Then click on find whatever we created. You can see. Now I want to understand who created this operating unit, which user created, when this got created, and when any changes, updates are done, that when updates are happened on this. And again, this information will be stored in which table in the database I want to understand. In that case, what you can do is, so after opening this form, and anyway you have record here, okay, go to help. Okay, go to help. Under help you can see one option called as record history. Click on record history. It gives the detailed information about this record. Who created this record? Is created by ERP tree, and creation date, the timestamp, and which date at what point of time. Okay, on 29th 19 means 7:53. Okay, that was the time which we created this operating unit. Okay, it is taking September. That means server date we have like that. Okay, I'll ask the DBA to change it, but we know actual today date is March 1st, but this is server date is considering. That is the reason here also you can see the same date. Actually it should be today date. server date need to be modified. Okay, we'll change it. So, and where this information is stored in the database, in this is a table name, HR organizations units view. This is actually a view name, but they are presenting as table. Anyway, I'll take one session to give you the better understanding the tables and views and what are the basic queries we have to write when we are working as a finance consultant. I'll take one session to give you the better understanding and what are the SQL statements, basic statements we have to write, which tool we have to use, how to query the data from database. One session is enough, so that will help you. And created by ERP tree and updated by ERP tree only. And update also happened at the same time because that means no updates. So this is what this kind of record history you can get for anything what you create. Not only this, even if you take another record or whatever location, whatever you create in the system, for that this is how you can get the information. You can go to sysadmin, and if you want to check who created responsibilities, which user created, you can get from here. I'll take ERP tree. So I want to know who created this responsibility, which user created. Then go to help. So record history. There I can see this responsibility created by user called as sysadmin. That's what we did, right? So we created this responsibility by logging to the system as a sysadmin user. On which date, so and so date. Anyway, this is a system date the system is taking, and where this responsibility is stored in the database in this table. There is some difference between the table and view that we'll discuss. For now, just they are giving this is a table name. This is a table name. With this table, you can go and query with SQL statement. You can see the same responsibility within the table. Okay, I'll show you that. We'll have one session for that. Okay, not in the end of the classes, maybe after few classes I'll show you, maybe after 5 to 6 classes I'll show you that. So this is how you can get the information. Apart from this, if you want to know about which version of this application we are using and what is the database version, for application and database everything there will be version. So if you want to know that also you can get from here, help, and go to select about application, about Oracle applications, about these applications. Click on this, it will give you the more information. So here you can see, so it is showing like we are in which responsibility, system administrator, by logging with a ERP tree user. And this is the RDBMS, relational database management, database version 11.2.0.4.0. and the application version, our application version is 12.2.4. and this is system date. This date need to be changed, server date. It has to be changed in server, then automatically today date will reflect. Anyway, by next session I'll ask the DBA to do it, and remaining all some technical related information. So what are the forms we are using, the forms whatever we are opening by clicking on so and so function, the forms also version will be there, that is a form version. These are the form versions. Okay, and schema, display profile, a lot of information which is a technical reference. So forms, menu version, menus, and forms, PLSQL related technical information, all you can see from here. In the same way, when we are working on any function, let me take this as a simple example. Work structure, organization, description. I'll take this. Now if I want to understand, I'll close it. This is the organization creation form. If you want to understand about this form, what purpose we can use, what we can create through this, what I can do is after opening this, we have to go to help here. Window help. That means which window help? This window. Which window is opened? Okay, which form is open? That form related help. Whatever you create after opening, if you want to know about it, you can click on this help icon, window help icon, question mark icon. Just click on this. It gives you information about that window or form. Which form that is? organization only, right? Within that only we have find organization window also. So setting up organization, you can read it, how to create organization within that. Okay, so setting up locations and relevant information, because within that organization creation we have location also, right? So you can go through and you can get more information. That's how you can go with these help also, if you think you want to understand more and more. Okay, so that's all. Okay, so after completing this, what we have to do is, now we're done with the multi-org structure. Now to work on any application, it can be payables or receivables or cash management or fixed assets or purchasing or order management, inventory or HRMS, any application. If you want to work on those applications, again, application specific setups we have to complete. Application specific setups we have to complete. Okay, application specific setups we have to complete. That's very important. After completing the application setup specific setups only, we can start work on the business process. Okay, so just remember these points. First point is we have to create the multi-org structure. The structure, it's like some skeleton structure we created. That's what we have to understand. Very high level structure is defined in the system. Within the structure, multi-org structure, what are the responsibilities we have? For those to work on those application related responsibilities, we have to do application specific setups. If you want to work on purchasing, straight away you cannot go and work. You have to complete some basic setups. We call as basic configuration. You can call as basic configuration. So as per process, what we have to do is, the first step is multi-org configuration. Okay, multi-org configuration. The second step is module, or say application. Both are same. Application only you can call as module. Module or application specific configuration. You can call as configuration or setups. After completing application specific configuration, then only you can start working on particular application. If you want to work on accounts payables, you have to complete accounts payables application related setups through our responsibility. And if you want to start working on purchasing, what we do in payables we'll create the purchase invoice and payments. Simple point, if you want to create the purchase invoice, you need supplier. You have to create the supplier. If you want to make the payment, we need bank accounts. We have to create the bank accounts information. Not only that, there are many other setups which you have to perform, but just as a understanding and a basic information I'm trying to give you. So in any application, if you want to work on purchasing, what we do in purchasing, we'll create the RFQs and we'll create the requisitions. We can create the purchase orders, we can approve them, and we'll create the receipts, and if required we do the purchase returns also. If you want to perform all these transactions, or say all these activities in the purchasing, you have to set up, or say you have to configure purchasing application ready to support all these transaction process. So that only we call as module or application specific setups. Now we completed only multi-org configuration. Within this environment, now we have to start with the application specific configuration. After completing that configuration, we'll start working on the transaction process and the flow, whatever we discussed as a P2P and O2C. We'll go one by one. Okay, any question or doubt here, please? Any question, please? Okay, fine. So multi-org configuration we done. Now this is a pending, like we have to do this. After that we'll be working on it. Okay, anyway, let's list out what we did in the very summary level, high level. Okay, what are the
Can you send us the Excel sheet? No?
sorry,
Can you send us? Can you send us this Excel sheet so that we can have some overall idea about it?
no, I cannot send this, so that is the reason why I'm requesting to make a note. I'm sorry, really sorry, because I cannot send it. There are several reasons. Okay, I cannot. So I'll just brief you on that, what setups we did as a part of multi-org, very high level. If you want to configure multi-org in the system, what setups you have to complete. So first we have to create responsibilities. We created. Create all responsibilities for which applications we are going to implement. We have to create for each application one responsibility. Already we gone through that, how to create responsibility for which application, which menu we have to use, which request group we have to use, we discussed. But for any responsibility, data group name is same, standard. First we have to create responsibilities. After creating responsibilities, say set HR user type profile option to all responsibilities. Okay, after setting that, what we have to do, create user. After creating user, say assign all responsibilities to user, and along with all responsibilities whatever we created, we have to assign system administrator responsibility also. After completing that, what we did, we have to create location for business group. Same time you may create location for your operating units and inventory organizations also. Okay, anyway, how many locations you have your operations and registrations, accordingly you can create the location. But here just we have to see how to create the location. It can be for business group or OU or anything. Just we have to create location. It can be one or multiple, how many you require, you will create it. After creating the location for business group, we have to create business group. I'm not going to write here detail level. We know how to create the business group. That you should remember. You should be able to explain it. You should be able to present it. So we created location for business group. After that, we created business group also. After creating the business group, we have to assign the business group to all responsibilities. Say assign business group to all responsibilities. After assigning the business group to all the responsibilities, what we did, I'm not going to write very detailed level, high level, how generally you have to present. Simple point. If you are attending the interviews or in generic way also, if somebody is going to ask you what are the setups required for multi-org, what is the approach, what is the way you have to, I mean, how you have to summarize and you have to explain, that's how I'm going to write here. Very high level, which you can understand since we gone through these classes. So after assigning the business group to all the responsibilities, what we have to do is we have to create primary ledger. We know to create primary ledger, before that what setups we have to do. Okay, period type, accounting calendar, enabling currency, creating the chart of accounts, everything we have to do. And again here I'm not including legal entities and all. Okay, that is part of, that is along with the primary ledger. After creating primary ledger and all will be creating, so I'm not mentioning, or else but since that is one of the multi-org unit, you may specify create primary ledger, then say create legal entity or entities, whatever. Again, you don't need to specify when you talk about multi-org configuration, a high level. You don't need to specify legal entity. We have to assign to primary ledger, be balance segment values to legal entity, etc. Not required. So after that, say assign primary ledger to all responsibilities. After that, so create operating unit. Before that, you may create location for operating unit. If your business group location and operating unit locations are totally different, definitely generally we'll have multiple operating units. The business group location is nothing but registration, office, company registration, or where you have corporate office. That address basically will take the corporate office physical address will create in the system for business group. It may not be registration address also sometimes, or head office address. That's how we'll define. Sometimes the same registration address and business group address can be same. That depends. Whatever it may be, how many locations you have, we have to create. So before you go and create the operating unit, you have to create the location also for operating unit. That is not a very primary point to discuss here, so I'm not writing. So simple point here is create operating unit. For units, we'll create multiple. So just I'm taking as a singular here. So create operating unit. After creating the operating unit, assign operating unit to. I'm just as we discussed, I'm writing all responsibilities. Anyway, till you get the detailed understanding, you go in this way. Later you can ignore and you can assign to only specific responsibilities. Which responsibilities are, say, which applications can be mapped at OU level as per multi-org structure. But here, as per our discussion or generic, the fact is you have to assign operating unit to OU specific applications or response. Those are nothing but AP, AR, PO, and OM within what are the points we taken into our discussion. Reality, there will be a number of other applications. Those we are not discussing, so I'm not referring those. So done. So after completing this, we have to create item master inventory, and after completing that, say run replicate seed data program. Then finally, just this is additional point. It's, as a part of multi-org, we just it's not a point, but after completing that, just will to make sure everything went fine. We'll check multi-org configuration status. How just what are the multi-org we configured? What is the status? Whether it went fine or not, we'll verify. The verification we can do from tables. This is what we did. Okay. So for responsibility,
Yeah, Lakshman, we forget, profile options, I think, maybe after creating primary ledger.
primary ledger we assigned, right? Here I given that. Assign primary ledger.
No, I'm talking about profile options, like MO security profile.
See, just I mentioned here, you can see here business group, assign business group to all responsibilities. How we assign? By using profile option. That's what I said. I'm not writing detail level, all profile. Assign business group to all responsibilities. There is a meaning. By using profile options, we know which profile options. That's what I said. Just we are discussing very high level what steps need to be involved. We are not talking about each and every detail point, high level. Okay, summarize it where I'm explaining. Here also I didn't mention. For primary ledger, which profile option I didn't mention. Operating to which profile option I didn't mention. I'm not mentioning. Even here I'm not mentioning any menu or request group. Okay. So it's high level. When you go detail level, yes, you have to explain all those things. Generally, if somebody is going to ask you the question, okay, what are the multi-org setups? This is what you have to explain. That's the reason I'm mentioning. When we are explaining in this way, say you are explaining, we have to create responsibility and we have to create set HR user type. Since we are doing this as a separate activity, after that I mentioned, otherwise this is also not required. I may specify the very high level, we have to assign all required profile options. Okay, only just this I specified since we are doing a separate initial profile option setup. Rest, if I say assign business group to all responsible, definitely by using those profile options, whatever we discussed. So those are HR security profile, MO security profile, and MO operating unit. And here, if I say assign primary ledger to responsibility, definitely by using GL ledger name profile option. If I say assign operating to all responsibilities by using MO operating unit profile option. The same meaning, we have meaning within that. That's what I just intentionally I'm writing in this way. This is how we have to explain. When you are explaining in this way, somebody may stop you. Oh, fine, okay, good. Tell me which profile options will use to assign the business group to all response. In that case, we have to answer. When you say we have to assign the primary ledger to responsibility, you may get some cross question, which is a profile option we use, and how to do that. Can you tell me the navigation? Can you explain? That's how there could be some cross questions. You should get ready for that also. So this is what I'm trying to explain. Okay. So this is a summary of multi-or configuration, what we did in the system. Any questions, please? Any questions on this? Not only this, from right from beginning, from the first session. I think today this session is 13th session. Okay, we completed 12 classes. This is going to be 13th class, which we are discussing today. So from right from the first class to till today class, any questions, please? The question may be related to what we discussed in the classes, what you are trying to think and understand. Based on that, you may ask the question, or when you are practicing on the system, you have some issue or you have some doubts or any clarification required, you can ask me. Or else the course related questions also you can ask me, any questions.
I have a question. While assigning the business group to responsibilities, we used basically three profile options like HR business group, HR security, MS security profile, and HR security profile. So out of these three, you said like only one, the first one.
Correct.
Only the HR business group is mandatory. And you said that you are going to.
Listen. I said unnecessarily. I should tell that later. Okay, it will create some confusion. That is the reason we are asking the question now. But this stage you take by using those three profile options. We have to assign our business group to all respond. Take that point, and we have separate concept where you will get more clarity. Whether three are, see, three you can see with our business group names only, right? That is the reason I am just suggesting to understand in that way. But reality, those three are not business group. You cannot accept that if I say, because those are, however we written our BZ, the same name we have, right? You need proof for that. Till we see the proof, I want to give this statement only to you. Don't think on that much, not required now. We have a separate concept. At that time I will explain you. That's what I give a note also. Okay, for now you take for simple your understanding. By using these three profile options, we can assign the BZ to our all responsibilities. You go ahead with that statement. Nothing will stop you for understanding and doing. Anyway, we have some relevant concept which gives you more clarity. All our business groups are not, why the naming convention like that, etc., etc. But you don't get into that. Don't try to understand beyond what we are discussing now, please.
Okay, sure. Maybe you are going to cover it the later.
Yes, exactly. Fine. Any other questions? Okay, fine. Seems to no questions. Then in tomorrow's session, what we will do is we'll start with application specific setups. First, we'll complete HRMS basic setups. That means here we'll see how to create the employee. We don't do many setups in HRMS because that is not our job. To work on our P2P and O2C cycles, what basic, just minimum setups we have to complete from HRMS, we'll do that. So we'll complete in tomorrow's session, we'll do HRMS basic setups. After completing HRMS basic setups, we'll start with inventory related setups, inventory basic setups. After completing inventory setups, still if we are going to find time in tomorrow's session, we'll do the purchasing related basic setups. After completing that, we'll do payables setups. I don't say basic setups. Here we'll discuss and we'll do. This is our area, so we have to focus on more and more on this. Okay. So this is how just we are going to work on. So tomorrow's session we'll see what are the basic setups we have to complete from HRMS. There we have to understand the job position, what are the different structures we selected at the time of business group info specification. That also I'll take you through. for our better understanding. And then once we after completing that, we'll talk about inventory basic setups. We'll complete in the system, then purchasing. Then we can start with our payables. Okay. Any other questions, please? Okay. Seems to no questions. So then we can wind up the session for today. Anyway, I'll be available in the same meeting for 5 more minutes. Meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay. Then that's all for today. See you in tomorrow's session. Have a good night and good day. Thank you all.
Good night and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshman. I have a question. I've missed some of the classes before. I've got the video link to it, but to practice on the system, can I get the link, the system information?
Oh, you didn't get
login information.
instance.
No, I've joined after like 8-9 classes. So
Okay.
if you could.
Sure. We'll share the instance credentials then. We'll do that.
Unmuted.
Okay, we'll be sharing. You can expect by tomorrow. I'll ask the team to share instance credentials. You can start with the practice then. Any other questions?
Yes, Lakshman. So you had talked about the replicate sheet data program, right? So my question regarding that was, see, nowadays basically all the projects, whichever there are, whatever applications they use from Oracle, so all of them are customized, right? So over there also, like it is recommended to run replicate sheet data. There are certain customizations done, right?
Listen.
For,
I got your question.
yeah.
See, when we talk about replicate sheet data, you no need to worry about whether you are going to do some customizations or not. See, so far, whatever we did, that is a multi-hour configuration. Okay, whatever we have a standard product functionality or standard features, based on that only we are doing the setups. After completing these setups, you run this program. After that, you can go ahead and you can do this. You may not do the customizations. You no need to think about this replicate sheet data to run again and again, not required. One time, one client will run one time when we are doing the setups, not more than that. There is no relation with customizations which you do for any client. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions, please?